Hello from London. I'm Eliza, a disabled Londoner who's lived in the city my whole life. I'm going to give you 30 of the most essential tips if you're visiting the city for the first time. Keep watching for all the things that you need to know about London. This is Pam. She's my new little chihuahua and she might be popping up a couple of times, giving her Pam seal of approval. So if you see her on my lap, that's why. And she's really, really, really cute. In the UK, we use Great British Pounds, not euros, and we don't accept US dollars like some other countries. The only currency any shop or service will accept is pounds, so don't try and pay with anything else. This is what a UK plug looks like. So if your device doesn't have a plug that looks like this, then you'll need to get yourself a converter for dual voltage devices. So this is off and this is on. There is normally a red bit at the top that tells you if it's on. Cars drive on the left in the UK, so make sure that you look the right way before you cross the road to make sure that there's nothing coming. In London, they often have these handy reminders on the road if you need help. In the UK, cars cannot drive unless the light is green for them, unlike places like the US, where cars can turn right without a green light, which I didn't know. There are two main types of pedestrian crosswalks in the UK, adorably named zebra and pelican. With a zebra crossing, pedestrians have right of way, so the cars should stop for you if you're waiting to cross. Although definitely check cars are actually stopping like they're supposed to, because the amount of times that they don't, you need to check. With pelican crossings, you have to press the button like this and wait for the man to go green before you can cross. There's also another one called toucan crossing, which means two can cross because people and bikes can cross at the same time. Jaywalking is legal in the UK. You can cross when it's safe to do so. Although, do be careful with that one because London is a busy city and cars can literally come out of nowhere. The drinking age is 18 in the UK, but fun fact for all of you who have just missed out, it does lower to 16 if you're with an adult and are eating a full meal, so enjoy that one. Poor little Pam can't legally drink, she's only 6 months. You don't have to wait to be seated. You can just find an empty table. If you can, London pubs can get pretty busy. Although some pubs do have a restaurant section where normal restaurant rules apply. That should be pretty obvious though. Calling all parents, cider is alcoholic here. You'll get a pretty weird look if you try to order it for your 8-year-old, so don't. Children are usually allowed in pubs. This is especially true during the day, and most of the time they're allowed in pubs during the evening too. If there is a cut-off time for kids being allowed to be in a particular pub, it will say so on the door. It's usually around 9 PM. London is basically a cashless city these days. Honestly, you'd be totally fine traveling around without any cash on you at all. I barely ever have any. Even things like tips can be done on a card, so you don't need to worry about that either. That being said, there are loads of cash points around the city where you can get cash out if you feel better just having a bit with you. Just make sure that the cash machine won't charge you for withdrawing. The cash point will tell you if it will charge. Cash machines that are associated with banks are a good place to get cash out around the city without service charges. Speaking of tipping, we tip 10 to 12.5% on meals. Sometimes service is already added, so do check. You'll see that on the bill as service charge. It's optional, but we generally do pay it unless the service is really bad. You don't need to tip bartenders, but we do generally tip taxi drivers. Round the fare up to the nearest pound.
Okay, let's be real. You cannot travel abroad these days and not have internet connectivity on your phone. I mean, I need to be able to text my friends, to use Google Maps, and just to stay safe while I'm traveling on my own. But data roaming can be so expensive, and I remember back in the day, I'd have to buy little local SIM cards, and I'd have to switch out the SIM cards from my phone, and sometimes I would lose it. It was just really, really annoying. Luckily, you can avoid all of it now by getting an eSIM with SIM Local. It's really easy. Just choose your destination and how much data that you need, and in a few easy steps, you can activate it on your phone and you're ready to go in whatever country you're traveling in. You'll stay connected at local rates, which will save you a lot of money. SIM Local is highly rated with almost 5 stars across TripAdvisor and Google, and they have a 60-day return policy, so you have nothing to worry about. You can get 10% off your SIM Local order with the discount code we have down in the description box. Plus, it helps support everything we do here on Love in London. So go grab that, and let's get back to the video.
Tube station signs look like this. Bus stop signs look like this. Overground signs look like this, and National Rail signs look like this. Pay for your travel using your contactless payment card or mobile pay. It's way easier than using an Oyster and it's the same price, but you don't have to deal with the £7 charge to get the Oyster. Never, ever buy a daily travel card. They're a complete rip-off. Also, No form of London's transportation takes cash. Once you've taken a few journeys on London's transport in a day, the rest of your trips are free. This is because of something called the daily cap. We explain this in a bunch of our other videos, like this one. Watch that after you watch this video. But basically, the amount that you pay for services run by London's travel provider, Transport for London, every day is capped at a maximum cost. This works across buses, tubes, trams, DLR, London Overground, Elizabeth Line, and National Rail journeys in London. The amount that you pay depends on how many zones that you travel through, but generally tourists will only be in zones 1 to 2. Children under 11 go on public transport for free. Just drag them with you through the wide gates in the station or bring them with you on the bus. Children aged 12 to 15 can go half price for 2 weeks with something called a Young Visitors Discount. You can get this by buying a Visitor's Oyster card and getting the station staff to add the discount for you. On escalators and tube stations, always stand on the right and walk on the left. Seriously, this is one of the most important things for Londoners. We hustle down those escalators and will not be pleased if someone stands on the left. You have been warned. And do as I say, not as I do, because right now we're blocking an exit and entrance into the station, but it's worth it for the video, darling. These electric bikes are not owned by London's travel provider, TfL. They're owned by Lime and some other companies. You need a special app to use them. We do have public bikes that are operated by TfL, but they're not electric. If you use one, be sure to never block the otherwise, wheelchair users like me can't get past them. I really recommend downloading City Mapper or Google Maps to help you get around the city. Both of these apps will let you know how to get from point A to point B using public transport, how long it will take, and how much it will cost. They both integrate with non-public travel option services like Lime bikes, ride shares like Bolt and Uber, and those electric scooters. You hail a taxi like this. Where are we going? Only cabs with the light on the top of the car switched on will stop for you though. If the light's off, it means that it's already taking passengers. You can also book a taxi on an app called Get, but we also use Uber and other rideshare services like Bolt too. Different areas of London have very different vibes. Central is touristy, west is the fanciest, east is the most eclectic, north is residential and has lots of green spaces, and south is the most underrated. And I'm from the south, and I personally think it's the best. Accommodation will probably be your biggest expense coming to London. It's really, really expensive in London and there's not really a way around that. Central places will be more expensive, but staying in the suburbs isn't always much cheaper. Balance the cost of staying centrally and being close to stuff against the cost of transport to get into the city every day. Honestly though, you'll have to take the tube wherever you stay in London. Airbnb isn't really any cheaper in London and we just don't recommend it. This is because it takes homes away from local Londoners and drives up rent prices. You can read all about why we say this in our article linked in the description. Don't take those free walking tours. Most companies charge the guide to run it. We'll link some amazing and ethical tour companies in the description. Londoners tend to dress up a little for dinner, so bring some nice dinner options with you. Although there are loads of casual places in the city, it just depends on your vibe and where you want to eat. If you're coming to the Ritz though, you're going to want to wear something fancy. It doesn't rain as much in London as everyone assumes. The Met Office, the weather people in the UK, say that we get around 111 days of rain in a year in London, which sounds bad, I know, but there are days where any rain falls at all. It's not that usual for it to rain all day in London. The main thing to know about London's weather is that it's really changeable and will probably change a bunch of times all in one day, so pack accordingly. London is much drier than the rest of the UK though. Rough average summer temperatures are somewhere between 18 and 25 degrees Celsius, and rough winter average temperatures are between 0 and 10 degrees Celsius. It can get hotter or colder though, and there's no guarantee of any type of weather at any time of year, so bring a sweater. Honestly, just always bring layers, an umbrella, shorts, just bring it all. In London, you will definitely walk a lot, so make sure that you pack some good walking shoes or wheels, if you're like me. Londoners walk or wheel pretty fast, so make sure to keep up. But don't worry, if you aren't able to do that, just keep to the side. And finally, Londoners are friendlier than we seem. We all know the reputation, even though Londoners are known for being standoffish, and it's true. We don't like to chat a huge amount with strangers, but we will usually help anyone who needs it, so just ask. I personally love to have a good conversation in a lift, and I've stroked up so many. So there you go, you are ready to take on your first trip to London. Enjoy it. Do you have any essential tips for London first-timers? Let us know in the comments. And for more tips, we literally have hundreds of videos which you can watch by clicking on one of the boxes popping up around me.